Let's go out to Grace in Austin, Texas. What's up, Grace in the 512? How we doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm
It's
good.
to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you. Things okay?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Excellent. Yeah, it is stunning out here in Nashville today. I'm glad that y'all need a beautiful day. Just
Yeah,
the
I
weather's
know.
bananas. Hey, so what's up? How can I help?
Okay, so my question is, how do I release or let go of this perhaps unreasonable bitterness that I have against my family, my parents specifically? And I know that's a super broad question, so I can explain it if you want.
Can I just start guessing things? Just kidding. Yes, of course. Explain it. Explain it.
Okay. So 10 years ago, I was at the Boston Marathon bombing.
Oh my gosh, in 2013. Yeah, I guess it is. 10
Yeah.
years. Okay.
Yeah, 10 years. It's crazy.
Wow. What were you doing there?
Oh, I was cheering on my mom. She was racing.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. And I was at the finish line and thankfully didn't die.
Yeah, for real. Hey, can we just park on that
but-
sentence? That's an important sentence.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you internalized that over the last 10 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've taken it and I've done good with that gratefulness that I have.
Okay.
It's a weird thing because no one thinks when they're in middle school that they're just going to go to a sporting event and possibly die. But
no, did you see things or did you hear things or did you happen to leave? Yeah, tell me what you saw.
I've never actually told anyone.
Okay, then I'm gonna stop you there because I don't want to be the first person in this context. You need that to somebody up close. But okay, and so keep going here.
So yeah, I mean, I saw all the things that the news showed or wasn't allowed to show, honestly.
Yep.
But anyway, I over the last 10 years have done a lot of work to get rid of or try my best to get rid of the physical post-traumatic symptoms, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff started to present itself in the spring, which was kind of weird, a lack of sleep and all that. And all that was to be expected, and we were warned. But I guess 10 years later, I'm realizing that there's a lot of bitterness I still have for the way that my family dealt with the situation afterwards.
Tell me about it.
I did get sent to a counselor because I was honest with my family about what I saw. When everyone was telling us not to look in one direction when we were running away, I was curious, so I looked. And
sure.
Anyway, so I went to a counselor, but in my head, growing up, I had heard over and over that that was weak, or maybe I hadn't heard it, but I had internalized that that you go to a counselor if you have a problem, and I didn't think that I had a problem. I just thought I would be able to move on, and so I didn't really talk to anyone about it. I just now I'm realizing that I shoved it down, and I just I guess am now dealing with it 10 years later. So it doesn't really go away. But
what did your mom and dad do that you're still so bitter? Your family.
I think it's what they didn't do.
Okay, tell me about that.
So there was a lack of conversations about it. We turned to humor in my family, which is really nice in the moment. Mm-hmm. But I think long term, it has done some damage and it's created some coping mechanisms in me that I just blame on them. And I just need to take some personal responsibility for them because now I'm in my 20s and I want to change that.
Give me 2 things you've done as coping mechanisms.
I never talk about it. And then when I do, I only talk about it in trying to find a purpose in the bombing. I'm just so obsessed with finding the good in it, I guess.
Tell me though, what are some coping behaviors?
Oh, okay.
Are you restrictive with what you eat? Are you?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, I developed a really horrible eating disorder.
Okay.
And then I also just turned to success as my fuel, I guess. Yeah. And sorry, I'm teetering on tears. I'm
No,
really trying to stay away from them.
And I'm really, if you were with me, and you could feel safe, I would push you a little bit further. But since we're on the phone, you're sitting by yourself and you can hear me, but your body can't feel this room right now. Okay, so I am intentionally stopping one or two questions short. Okay, but I know that you can feel that I'm stopping too.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, because
yes. So, and here I want you to hear me say this. And this is both a disarming thing and this is also a frustrating thing for you. The fact that I immediately picked, this isn't written down anywhere. You didn't, to my knowledge, you didn't put this in your entry. I didn't even read your letter that you sent. I just have a little clip. The fact that I picked disordered eating out of thin air, I want you to know this isn't you're on a long line of people who've suffered awful things.
Yeah.
And did not have people around that would listen to you.
Right.
And left you to swim in the middle of the ocean by yourself. And what's super frustrating is they all look like they were swimming just fine right next to you.
Yeah.
And they weren't. They're not. They're not either, Grace. They're not.
Yeah.
But they look like they were.
That's been the craziest thing is I just look around me and like a few other people in my family like were there. And I look at them and I'm like jealous almost of.
It's a mirage. It's a mirage.
Yeah.
It's a mirage. It's a mirage. And good for you that you got addicted to success and not something else. Fair?
Right. Yeah. Definitely fair. Yeah.
So what's going on now 10 years later? Is it media coverage? Is it what is bringing this up now?
Well, my parents did a good job of covering, shielding us from the media. They didn't want us to get obsessed with it because they did hear that sometimes people do turn to it. Just get obsessed with the story.
I'm going to tell you they did the best they could with the info they had, and what they did was absolutely backwards.
Yeah.
Completely backwards.
Okay.
Completely backwards.
Okay.
But we could talk through that in a second.
Yeah.
Or I will,
now.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say that now I actually qualified for the Boston Marathon, so I'm running it in a week. So I kind of like, I just wanted something to be like mine out of this, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm setting my expectations like moderate because who knows? But I'm just excited that I have the opportunity to go, you know, and like hope to make it good this time.
It's okay, Grace. No one's ever told you this. It is okay to be terrified out of your mind. And it's okay to be so scared that the day before you get on that plane, you don't go. And it's also okay to go and to run not your best time, but to finish in a act of defiance so profound that few people will ever understand what you've done.
Yeah, that's how it feels. It feels like I'm like, it feels like a victory already, I guess.
Yep,
but
it is.
I think the reason why I like really wanted to just like talk to someone about it is because not all aspects of the last 10 years feel victorious at all. You know, like, and I expected like 10 years later, like, why can't this just be like done, you know?
Because here's the deal. You haven't dealt with it.
Yeah. I just don't know how or like where to start.
I know. And you don't have a picture of what that looks like in your house.
Yeah.
I'm heartbroken for you. So can I use a recent tragedy in my neighborhood to talk through how I dealt with it with my little kids?
Yes.
So I'm in Nashville, and so we just had that shooting where that person went inside and shot kids inside of a little Christian school, right? My 7-year-old and my 13-year-old. My 7-year-old, we laid down on our tummies, on our stomachs, on our trampoline outside. And I asked her to tell me what she knew and what she'd heard. And she wasn't at the school. She was down the road. But that was going to be the school. That was her feeder school from her pre-K. And so she had people. So I asked her to tell me everything she knew about whatever she knew. And then I asked her to tell me about her feelings. And she said she was scared, but she knew what to do. And then she explained a few things to me on active shooter training that I learned in a SWAT operation. And then I wept because I thought my 7-year-old should not freaking know this. But I didn't hide it from her. I let her see me. See what I'm saying? See how different it is?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't let her watch the news because she's 7.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference between trying to shield somebody and to age appropriately let them feel and see what grief looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And one step further, I've shown up to scenes and I have things in my mind that will be there for the rest of my life, just like you, right?
Right. Yeah.
The only difference is most of mine, not all, but most of them, I was an adult. You were a child. And so your body has stamped that.
Yeah.
And no adult came to rescue you.
No. Yeah. I mean, they tried. Like,
hold on.
Sorry.
You have to stop defending them. You've been defending them your whole life. You have to stop. It's not your job.
Like, I understand that. I think my problem with it is putting myself in their shoes. Like, there's no textbook for that, you know?
No. Exactly. Here, let me say this. We're not going to blame them as though there's some retribution or some like declaration of war.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also going to hold in the other hand. So we're not hating, we're not going to war, but we're going to hold in the other hand. I was 10. And somebody that I know and that I love should have hugged me and said, "You saw horrible things. Tell me about it. You weren't safe then, but you're safe now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to counseling with you because I'm scared." And when they noticed that their teenage daughter was skipping meals and losing weight, that they would say, "Hey, I'm going to come with you. I'm stopping all of our plans that we're running to." You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so there is, in one hand, no, we're not going to beat somebody up because they were dealing with their own trauma. I get that. And there was another way they could have dealt with it. And you have to own both.
Yeah.
Okay? Both things are true. Mm-hmm. You can still love them because they did the best they could with what they had, with the tools they had in their toolkit. And as a kid, you needed more.
Right.
Okay? And so now here we are. We're left with, you're in your 20s.
Yep.
And what am I going to do now? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's like the forgotten thing. Like none of my friends really remember.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's very niche and I have no one to like relate to about it. Not that I want a relatable problem, I guess.
No, you need someone to talk to. So I'll tell you, the actual thing that happened is niche. Okay?
Yeah.
The actual thing. But trauma is not niche at all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not. And so I'm going to give you a couple of standard lines that are important. Grief demands a witness. Mm-hmm. You have to say the words out loud of what you experienced and what you went through. Not with me, but with somebody you care and trust. And if that's a new counselor, that's a new counselor. If that's your mom and dad, that's your mom and dad. If that's your sister, that's your sister. But you can no longer try to keep all of this bound and trapped in your body because you're trying to protect everybody around you. Because when you're 10, you've got this weird sense in your soul that you didn't protect somebody, that you did something wrong, that you didn't do enough.
Funny you say that because I've actually had this guilt for a while that I ran away.
I know. I know. Grace, you were 10.
Okay. Yeah.
If you ran up on a 10-year-old right now who was trying to help, what would you tell them to do?
Like find cover.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're 10.
Right. Yeah, it's unreasonable.
I know, but the body does what it does to keep us safe.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, now there's some pretty clear research that says, and just been my personal experience too, that just sitting down and hauling off and just saying, here's everything from start to finish about my trauma. can actually re-traumatize your body in a weird way. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get with somebody who's a trauma specialist, and it's called seeking safety. You're going to teach your body ways to slowly enter some of these thoughts and memories and not get overwhelmed by them. Okay. And it's the same as before you run the Boston Marathon, you got to run 2 miles. It's that. And it's actually it's a pretty standard series of, we're going to meet for 3 or 4 times and practice a couple of ways to slow our bodies down when it starts to gear up. And there's going to be a couple of sessions that are in hell. And there's going to be a couple of sessions in, how do we make light of this new world? How do we go make meaning of all this?
Right.
But you're trying to make meaning. You're trying to here's what you've done in such a beautifully eloquent way. You have laid all the ingredients out for an incredible Texas catfish dinner. And you've got all the people at your house, and you've got all the lines and bait. You just haven't gone fishing yet. Okay, so you're trying to make meaning of something that you haven't fully processed yet. You're holding a 10-year-old accountable for her actions when the adults in the world around her left her trying to figure out what to do next because they were too busy trying to survive too. Okay? And now you're doing an incredibly brave thing by going back to ground zero and saying, I won't be conquered by this. This will be a monumental moment for you. If you don't go through with it, if you do. But here's the thing. It's not Rocky IV. Like, this isn't going to be it's not going to heal you. Everything's not going to be roses and butterflies after this.
Yeah.
But it
that's
will.
What I realized.
Go ahead. Do what?
I was just going to say, that's what I realized from, like, training for this. And, like, the reality is the fact that, like, what's going on inside my head hasn't changed. Like, I'm ready and I'm fit and I'm good to run this marathon. And I'm excited, but I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually not feeling better. Wait, nothing's changed.
In like, I say this all the time when I'm talking to, like, business owners, and it sounds trite and cheesy. You get to see it in as close up as possible, which is achievement never heals you.
Nope.
Right. And you are about to do the ultimate achievement, the ultimate display of bravery and middle fingers to your trauma.
Yeah.
And it's still, you're going to cross that finish line. You're going to be so thankful. And then you are still going to look to your right and left.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to look to your right or left.
Yep.
Don't let that stop you, because this can be a unbelievably powerful platform from which to jump off of to go get well.
Yeah.
But at some point, you're going to find yourself sitting in a circle there in Austin with a couple of other survivors of things. And you're going to find out you'll have very different stories, but very similar lives. And you're going to have achieved and accomplished and sought control over. And for the first time, you're going to feel safe enough after a couple of sessions with a professional, maybe more than a couple, you're going to feel safe enough to finally open your hands and let go. Whew. And then in the safety of those people who've been there to hell and back, or just at different coasts, you're going to find solid ground for the first time since you were 10 or 11. You'll have bouts of anger with your parents. You're going to have bouts of great peace and forgiveness with your family. All the things. I'll be I'm just blown away by how proud I am of you. You are stronger than most of us will ever know. So go run your race. And if you get close to it and you just can't, awesome, you got this far. I will high five you all the way. But if you go through it and you finish the race, finish it. Then you go home and you exhale. Whew. Then you look in the mirror and you can say, all right, Grace, now it's time. You're going to make that phone call. And you're going to sit down with somebody and say, I need to talk about some things I saw when I was 10 because they still haunt me now. And I need some help teaching my body that I wasn't okay then, but I'm okay now. I wasn't safe then, but I'm safe now. And then we'll be about making meaning. So proud of you, Grace. Let me know. Shoot me a note when you finish, when you cross that finish line. Or if you decide to not run, whatever you decide to do, let me know.